Hey, it's Andryanna. And if you clicked through and you tapped play on this episode, you know that it is time for you to stop dimming your light and it is time for you to start shining as brightly as you were meant to so that you can light the way for others. And this episode is really going to help you do that. It's going to help you see why it is so important to stop hiding and start shining. Now, for this episode, we have the incredible pleasure of hearing from Lisa Bragg, who has literally written the book on how to talk about success. Her book, it's called Bragging Rights: How to Talk About Your Work Using Purposeful Self-Promotion. It launched in May of this year as a bestseller, and she is a speaker, an advisor, and a professional mentor. She's also the founder of MediaFace, which is a Toronto-based content and consulting firm. She was a TV reporter. We're going to talk about all of this. She's also a mom to a 13-year-old daughter. She also has a 95-pound dog, some straggly cats, as well as her husband. And she is helping us in learning why it's so important to stop hiding, why we have to revisit what bragging means to us, what the definition of bragging really is, and how we can use purposeful self-promotion to help us succeed more in life, whether it be with work, in our personal lives, and just in feeling that sense of content and fulfillment and purpose in life. So with all of this, I can't wait for you to listen. Let's get started. Hey, I'm Andryanna Gonco, and this is the Juggle is Real podcast. As I share my ongoing journey from experiencing burnout to leading a more mindful and intentional life with better balance, I hope you feel seen, that you realize your worth, lighten your load, and prioritize your own needs. As we hear from leading experts and well-known faces in the wellness, entrepreneurship, education, and motherhood space, I hope you gain insights, proven practices, and learn actionable tools to help you enjoy the juggle of work, family, and everything in between with a little less stress and a lot more ease, joy, and fun. Most of all, I hope you find what you need to simplify, streamline, and supercharge your own journey of better balance and self-love. Are you with me? Let's get started. Lisa Bragg, welcome to The Juggle is Real. I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you. How are you?
I am so good and so excited to be here and talking to you about my book and about how we can all be seen and heard. So I'm looking forward to talking to your audience too.
Yeah. So, I have the book. It's Bragging Rights. It's incredible. I've been making way through it and I want to talk about it. But before we get into all the juicy stuff about how we can stop dimming our light, especially as women, let's hear a little bit about you. Like, tell me about yourself. What's brought you to getting this book out? Tell me about you.
I had no choice in writing this book. I was so, once it came into my brain, I'm like, okay, I have to do it. But I am my book. I am a hidden gem. I am someone who needs to learn how to brag. Bragg is my last name. It was the name that I had from birth. And I realized when I was about 13 that my success meant something to other people. And they would say, oh, are you going to brag about that? And I'm like, oh, ooh. So, I was, a card carrying member of the Won a Gold Star Club and I wanted good grades and the whole thing. And when I got them, I would be embarrassed and I would not share my successes with people because I could tell that it mattered to them. And then I decided to become a broadcast journalist. So somebody who's trying to hide also wants to be a broadcast journalist. But back in my day in broadcasting, it was never about me. It was always about the people that I would meet and the stories that I would tell. And I was always one to go against the pack. If they were going left, I would go right. And I would try to find different people to interview. And so many times I'd have, especially women, say, well, I'm not the expert. Go down the hall to John or Steve or Peter. And I would say, no, I really want to interview you. And so I was fortunate to be able to do some coaching because I was one of the first videographers. I don't know if you know, it's what we all do now, but I was able to have the camera and interview somebody. And so I was often by myself. And so I'd get to have the chance to do some media training on the spot with people. And the people that did it, I'd see them go on to do great things. So they'd get interviewed by more media, and then they would get a promotion, and all of these good things would happen to them when they're seen and heard. And I still have those thank you cards to this day. And then I started a content company, one of Canada's first content companies, MediaFace. And we did video animation, e-learning, and had so many clients say to me, because we were helping their subject matter experts get online for the first time. Because we forget all this stuff is still relatively new. It was 2007, but we've come so far. But I would help them, and I would see the difference it would make in their careers. And that's where I think the excitement really came for me, is helping people to be seen and be heard. And now I have, with a daughter who's 13, I want her to be seen and heard, because I want her to see, and for people to see her as she grows, that she has so many things to offer. And so I think it's really important for all of us to be out there. And I have a supportive husband who's right there cheering me on, because we need our cheerleaders. And it's really good. And the book has had such a good success. I think it's scary when you put something new out in the world. So here's some vulnerability, but it's like, oh, here's something new. Is anyone going to like it? So I'm so happy to hear that people are resonating with the book.
Me too. And I've been a fan of yours for a little while now. And I think it's so great to see how you've progressed in your journey, and how you've been able to put yourself out there. And I know for myself, but for so many of us, we kind of hold ourselves back a little bit. And I think it's so special for women, but especially for that next generation, people like your daughter, to grow up in a place, in a space where it's okay to say all those great things about yourself. It's so important. And your book is doing that and helping. And through your guidance and through your research, you're really, helping to shed light on why it's so important. So the introduction of your book, Bragging Rights, How to Talk About Your Work Using Purposeful Self-Promotion. It begins with kind of a neat story. And you talked about being a journalist and an encounter that you had with now a very famous pop star. And that sparked something in you to kind of make a shift in your career and that professional purpose that you now have. So can you tell us the story? Can you walk us through this time and how it sort of changed that trajectory of your life to bring you to where you are?
Yeah. We all have, so many of us have that when I met him stories. So it was in Stratford, Ontario. So that should give a lot of people a hint there.
Little hint, yeah.
And I was doing a story on politics. They were having a change of government there, where they already had gone to the polls several times for different things. And so I was looking for people to interview, and it was kind of quiet on the street. And here comes these young, gangly teenage boys coming up to me and saying, oh, I'll be on camera. And I'd get it all the time where kids would want to be on camera. And the story just wasn't going to fit. They weren't of voting age. They had no interest. They probably didn't even see the signs out on the street. And one of the kids was Justin Bieber, and he's saying to me, and right away, I'm like, this kid, like, what a voice. Wow. And he was naming off all the producers that he had been in touch with, and his talking about his mom. And I was like, oh, all the producers, I had no idea at all who any of them were at the time. So, but I went back to the station, and I did not put him on camera. And I believe I got an autograph from him, but I cannot find it anywhere. And anyway, so I wish I had all of that on tape and something to show the world. But I went back to the station and I said, we need to just do a story on this person. There's so many angles to it. First of all, he's this great voice, but he's also using this new medium to get himself out there and to be seen and heard. And now opportunity has come to him. These people somebody found him, and all this is happening. Like, how exciting is that? And I got a big flat no, and I got scorned for it, because the traditional media didn't see the change that was about to happen. Yeah. And lost the opportunity. But it really resonated with me that we can do this ourselves. Like, we can put ourselves out there. And so that's why I left news, and to the chagrin of many of my family members. Why would you leave news? Your career was on the trajectory up. I was, doing lots of new things. I just realized that we could choose ourselves, and more people are going to choose themselves. And how can I help them put themselves out there and be seen and be heard? And so, well, we all don't have the crooning voice of Justin Bieber, but we all have something that we need to share, that we have something special, a message, something that needs to be seen and heard. And I believe it's foundational to all of us to be seen and heard. So yeah, so that's my Justin Bieber
So
story,
cool.
my brush with fame, but it really got me going and thinking, there's something to this and I need to be part of it. And that's what started Media Face and started me really on this journey. So it's kind of a funny
I
story.
mean, kind of a cool story. It's something that I'm sure gets passed around at a lot of dinner parties, and I would be bragging about that. That would be my claim to fame, but so much more that we could be bragging about. So I just want to fast forward a little bit, because you made the decision to undertake one of the world's most extensive research studies on bragging. And then you put it together in this book on purposeful self-promotion. So I have a marketing background. And so looking to research is one of the things I tell my students, like, it is so important to be able to look to these different modes of research, but for you to conduct your own primary research investigation and really dig deep on this topic and learn more. Tell me about this. Why did you think it was important to do this work, to undergo this extensive study, and then to put it all together in this book?
Yeah, so my background being a journalist, research was really important to me. And I wanted to make sure the book wasn't just, hey, here's my experience and one. I wanted to make sure that it was reflective of a greater population of people. So I started looking, when you start thinking, okay, I have this idea. Is anyone else doing this idea? What should I do? So I started reading literature reviews, what other people had written about, who else had done studies. And I started to notice that so many of the studies based on the idea that bragging is bad or self-promotion should be limited, especially for women. It's fraught. There's too many risks. A lot of that research, or that it's so bad, but a lot of that research comes from universities that have conducted it on their own university students. So 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, 22-year-olds who are in a position of wanting to fit in and not stand out.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about standing out, it's not from their time. And so, but the research was based on their feelings. And so it was extrapolated to a lot of articles by journalists saying, the research says bragging and self-promotion is really bad and don't do it, especially if you're a woman. And we'd see these headlines. So I wanted to scratch deeper and see, first of all, the literature review, who is it based on? And it was mostly based on US people. And then I wanted to also see what else is missing to this story. And so that's where I decided to conduct it and make sure that it was open to everyone. Interestingly, I did have Northwestern University in the US join me for a little bit on one of the research surveys. And it did find that they still wanted to fit in at that age. Even my questions when I set them up and watched for bias, but they wanted to fit in. And then I had a survey that was open to the general public, mostly done through LinkedIn, my networks, done on some research survey organizations that you can put research up on, and found, though, that through the research that most of us actually want to hear people bragging. We want to hear stories of success. So I had so many people respond to it, and they said they're cheering us on. 85% of people are cheering us on when we brag. And I think it was 12% will ignore you and 3% will turn around and brag themselves. So I love that. I think that's really different than what the other literature, other survey and research had found. So just found that the survey made it a global issue too, that so many of us have been told, somebody in India said to me, it's, what will they think? And somebody in Japan said, they expect people to be mind readers, and Australia, tallest poppy. And so it brought up all these different things. So then I was able to go and do interviews with people and pull out some of the stories that you'll find in the book. So it was fascinating to see that it's taboo and where it comes in and how it permeates people's lives and the opportunities lost. The opportunities lost because of it. And I didn't even scratch the surface in what I put in the book, because otherwise the book would be 100,000 words and my editor wouldn't like that. So. But the fact of millions of dollars lost because people reported, they went on their mat leave and came back and lost opportunities there. And then because they weren't able to talk about their successes. And so they just had all these different things where it was like, I know I can pinpoint when I didn't brag and self-promote that I lost these opportunities, and cumulatively, it's been worth millions of dollars that I lost a client, I lost a promotion, all the things. So that just, it breaks my heart, but it also made me say, we're not alone when we're hidden gems, and made me realize we need to actually have a conversation about it. So very exciting. I love research. So
I love it too. And especially the findings that you've seen. I mean, I know for myself, I love to learn about the incredible things people are doing, and I love to cheer them on. I love hearing, even like looking on social media or just being on LinkedIn, seeing people's promotions or what they're doing. I think it's so great. But then there's always that voice in the back of our heads. It's like, oh, what will people think, or who's going to care, or what if they think I am bragging, or being, we all want to be so modest in everything. And so it's like, if we're all holding back in this way, especially as women, then, if we removed those barriers, if we took away those judgments, and it has been something that I have been working on for the last few years, and learning to shine brighter has been a really, really pivotal move for me. And I know that it's going to be helping so many people as we make this shift. And so you mentioned it before, and in this section of your book, it's actually titled "My Last Name is Bragg." You write, we learn what we are meant to teach. And so, of course, pretty obvious here, like you had to take this shot. Your last name was an easy target, but also when you're younger, for people to tease you or for bullies, and that made you shy away from the spotlight, or you didn't take credit for your accomplishments because you were worried about what people were going to say, knowing they had that easy, low hanging fruit to talk about bragging. But we don't all have this last name. And so many of us, myself included, we have done this. We have shied away, and we don't want to speak up about ourselves in a positive way. So why do you think this is? Was anything like really standing in the research that you found? Like, is it the judgments we have? Is it the worry? Why are we shying away, and why are we not promoting ourselves in a positive way?
So much of it is cultural, and it's that we are taught, especially as young girls, to be about community and always to be sharing everything. So share the credit, share this, be nice, be nice, be nice,
be nice,
be smaller. A lot of that conditioning happens. And a lot of it came, our parents, our great grandparents, their parents, generationally, we went from being part of agricultural societies. We were all on the farm, and we could see what people were good at. Our kin knew exactly what we were doing. And there also weren't that many opportunities to do different things. So you were the baker, the candlestick maker, the, out in the field, the maid, whatever it was. And so people knew what you were good at. And your grandmother would tell everyone. And then we moved into cities and away from our families as part of the factory era. And I think a lot of people, we lost that, we wanted to be just a cog in the machine because we wanted the safety of a paycheck. And so put your head down, do good work, and eventually someone will notice you, or don't ruffle feathers. We just wanted to be part of it. The idea too was that, these hierarchical systems were new. So they're all about maximizing productivity and really weren't about maximizing human potential. So I think that's the big thing there. So it's generational of this language. If you work with that good, it would speak for itself. Cream rises to the top, like all that. It's baggage, and it's baggage to keep so many of us as hidden gems being the worker bees, doing all the things in the background while someone else takes all the credit from us. And so that's what it is. It's cultural, and then it's ingrained, and then we ingrain it in the next generation because it's the rules we're taught. So that's where bragging is a bit of a rule breaking and, going against the taboo. So many people have permission and have always had permission to brag and self-promote. And I just want to take the moment to say, bragging back in the day, I think it's in 1325, was about shine and shimmer. And it wasn't about that boastful ickiness that we associate with it. It was shine and shimmer and bravery. I love that. And now it means to talk about your success with pride. And often you hear, and when you read the dictionaries, as I still do, they'll say, it's just with a sneer, and that it's overly and overt and pompous. But I really believe so. If it's talking about our success with pride, pride also means self-love. So let's have some more
Yes.
self-love and pat ourselves on the back and brag to ourselves first. And so it's that mindset piece. So I think that's really important for all of us. And then self-promotion is really, how do you take that thing that's successful, that thing that you want to communicate, and spread it out in the world, all the tactics. So the social media, the podcasts, the emails that you would want to do to spread the good word of all the goodness that you're putting out into the world. So that's really what it is that we're taught to play small. Well, some people get a pass, and I think I'm pretty tired of certain people getting a pass. And you know what? I get a pass too now. So I can say, wow, I have a best-selling book, and I'm expected to, because I have to sell this and I have to put it out there. Writers get a pass. CEOs get a pass because they have to talk about the awesomeness of their last quarter and the expectation of the next quarter. Athletes obviously get a pass. Politicians, they get a pass. So yeah.
This is so good. I mean, and really, like, if it's just semantics that's holding us back, like, can we revert to this prior definition? Because I prefer that one, truthfully, right? And I know, like you say in your book, that we have a choice to make. And the choice is whether we want to stand by and continue being hidden, or show up and act. I love that. Stand by and continue being hidden, or show up and act. And now I don't know a ton, but the little bit that I know about neuroplasticity, it's, understanding that wanting to stay hidden part brings the safety, right? Even if it's not what we actually want, even if we're just dying inside because we know, we're doing better work than so-and-so who got that promotion, or we have incredible ideas that could really push our organization further, or we're just doing incredible things and no one knows about it. But that staying hidden part is safe to us because we know that path. We've been down that path before. But the showing up and the acting, that is unknown, and that feels scary. And so we revert back to staying hidden. So my question then, maybe we know this on a conscious level, but it's sort of those subconscious beliefs that you've said have been passed down to us generation after generation, or that's what our parents told us, that's what our grandparents told us. So how do we go from hidden to daylight, as you beautifully put it, when we're afraid of what might be on the other side?
And first of all, knowing that fear is part of it. We are together though, and that you're not alone. So when you feel that way, that there is fear involved, understand that you're not alone. But I think that the corrosiveness of invisibility is worse. So the fear of being invisible, or the fear of being seen. So that's what it is. So do you want to stay where you are? And I think a lot of people now are at the point where it's like too tiring to be invisible, and that it's a burnout factor of this invisibility. So I think what I would suggest is that you take it to fear plus 10%. So you take steps of courage. Because a lot of people
fear
want
plus 10%.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
fear plus
right
10%.
Right at that cliff, or right at the edge of the pool or the lake where it's a little bit cold, and you're about to jump into that water, and it's that you have to do it just 10% more and 10% more.
Dip a toe.
And I'm not talking, wait till, I'll do it when I'm confident. It's like, well, it's always like, I'll do it when I lose 10 pounds, or when I do this, or when I get my hair done, or when I have that next certificate, or whatever it is. And it's always way out there. So what I want people to do is say, acknowledge it. So it's the fear plus 10%, but take a step of courage. So we're not going to get to confidence, but we are going to take a step of courage. So do one thing. Send one thing to one person and let them know, and see how that feels. I always encourage people to post on social media and tag #bragging rights, and I will find you and amplify it. Just do that one thing, a small thing on social media if you want, or even send it to me. An email is also a strategy for amplifying your successes to anyone. So send something to someone just to let them know that you've done this, and that you have something to brag about. And that taking that one step of courage will then build another step of courage, and hopefully release some of this conditioning that we've all had. I am my book. So I have to come back to it again. And I wrote a book called Bragging Rights. I have pages marked. I have to follow this book because the conditioning is so deep. And, I worry, am I being too much? Am I, all the things that we've just discussed. It's like, oh my goodness, I have to it's too much, Lisa. It's like, but nobody is listening that closely. And
That's
if
right.
they are, they're super fans. So they want more of it. So it's that balance of it. Cause you see celebrities all the time. They've posted the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And we love it. But we think nobody wants to hear from us over and over and over again. So release that idea, because frankly, people aren't paying that much attention to us. And so when we feel like we're on repeat, I want you to repeat again, repeat and repeat, but start with one step of courage and reach out to that one person who is already a safe place, and then build it on from there instead of trying to, all of a sudden have this huge Instagram or social media account where you're, have all the bells and whistles. It's really just taking one step and starting there.
I love it. Fear plus 10%. And I will say too that, yes, there's fear, but there's so much freedom beyond it. And I think that once you start to take the small steps, you realize, looking back, like being on that other side, even if it's just in a small way, like it just feels so much better. Right. And there's an authenticity to it that really, I think it's hard to go back from. So once you start creating that new path in your brain where it's like, okay, it's not as familiar, but I did this one thing and it wasn't so bad. So let's just do one more thing. And I can tell you and the listener, like even with this podcast, it was like, okay, well, I'll just send this one email to this one person who, I would really love to chat with them and I would really love to interview them. And who am I to even send this email? And it's like, a response right away. I would love to be on your show. Like, when can we get this scheduled in? And it's like the feeling that you get after hitting send or after, speaking your truth. It really is. It doesn't necessarily even matter what the outcome is, but more often than not, it's going to be well worth whatever that step was that you're taking. And so I do want to talk about taking action here a little bit, because I think we would be remiss if we just say, go about it, brag, do your thing, but let's actually move into this space where we are taking those steps. And I think one of the pitfalls in maybe wanting to take action or what's preventing us is that notion of being modest. And it really can be that pitfall because we're taught to be modest. But you say that modesty differs from humility. And it's really important that we stop deflecting. We stop dismissing our accomplishments, and we really need to receive and accept praise from others. And I know I can tell you, my mom is my biggest cheerleader. I love her. And she, will see someone, walking, I don't even know, at the grocery store. And I would have been like, my whole childhood growing up, but we'd stop at the grocery store and my mom would just go on and on, Andryanna this, and then she did that, and she got this great grade. And I would just be like, Mom. But she was my biggest cheerleader. She's my biggest fan, and she still is to this day. So the pride that she has, the humility that she has to be able to speak that, I think we can all take a page from it, right? For ourselves. So how do we look at humility versus modesty, and how do we stop deflecting and dismissing? And even if someone tells you like, oh, like you look so nice today, like, oh no, I barely slept, or even the smallest of compliments, how do we stop doing that? And how do we look at it with the new lens?
We all need your mom.
Yeah. Step one, get Catherine.
Step one. I think it's in the book. It's the Flip It to Test It from Kristen Pressner. And she has a great TEDx talk. So if you want to look that up, but I talk about her in the book, and would you say that about someone else? Mm-hmm. So would you say that? Would you allow a friend to not start their podcast? Because it's like, well, who am I? Who do people think I am? You wouldn't allow a friend to have that barrier. And so flip it to test it. Would I do that to a friend? No, I'd cheer them on to go and do that podcast. I'd cheer them on to reach out to that person who is a step above and reach out to them. I had this moment too. I wanted Seth Godin to read my book, and he was the third person to send that I sent the book out to. So his name is right here. Oh, and He read my book. And so this, for authors, the person on the book cover, it's very valuable, but it's so scary to send it out to someone. And he's a marketer. He's a genius. And
Oh, yes.
obviously I'm a fangirl. So just written so many great things. And if you've not read his work, go find anything by him and follow him. Just so many great provoking thoughts. But the vulnerability it takes to reach out and to say, yes, I want to, but you have to do it. So when you have those thoughts of, well, who am I to ask Seth Godin? So it was really that 3-2-1 send. So 3-2-1 send that information, but flip it to test it. Would I tell a friend not to do that? No, I'd be cheering them on. So start thinking that way and just 3-2-1, I'm going to send it. But being your own cheerleader is one of the best things too, is start that brag book, all your successes that you're having. You don't have to go back in time, but start them today and also brag to yourself. Tell yourself those compliments that you should have received for that. If it's an outfit that you love putting together and no one gave you a compliment yourself, compliment all the time and give yourself that pat on the back for the good things that you're doing. There's so many ways to start. I don't know. Is that good? Or do you want more tips?
It's great that you're saying this, because you said one of the most powerful first steps is to receive and give compliments. And I know, like, I love to celebrate small wins because it's kind of that notion of practicing gratitude, right? Like, what you focus on expands. And so just recognizing at the end of the day, like, all of the things that you might have done when, it was, maybe there were some trying times, or maybe the kids had a hard day, or maybe it was just one of those days. What are those small wins that you can celebrate? So you say that a good first step is to receive the compliments that you're getting, and then also to give them out. Why is this a good first step?
As you shine the light on others, it comes back to you. And it's one easy way for you to also build community and also be seen as an expert too, and a leader. So by sharing that limelight, the spotlight with other people, it shows gratitude. So it's including people in all of the great things that you're doing. So one way I talk about in the book is, here's my brag and here's how you supported me in that. So that's another easy step. It's called gratitude. I did not come up with that. But it's sharing the limelight with other people. Just, it adds. And it's also about, instead of being that scarcity mindset where I can't give compliments or I can't celebrate other people because they might get something that I won't. Instead, allow to have an abundance mindset. If I give someone a compliment, or if I celebrate someone else or cheer them on, it's not going to take away from the opportunities that I'm going to have. It could amplify them. So that's where I really want people to shine on each other and to share what we have. Because the more we have, it's not Pollyanna-esque either. It's really that there is an amplification process that goes with it. So it has to be genuine. It can't be all of a sudden,
Yes.
like, I'm going to, kiss up. It's really, how do I make sure that I'm letting people know? And it's so people forget the follow-up, a thank you email, or if you're on somebody's podcast or somebody mentions you, thank them for it, because they'll remember you. It gets sticky in the brain when someone reciprocates and joins us in our journey. So don't let it fall to the wayside, but be free to shine on other people and support other people, because that will come back to you in so many ways. Just go on someone's social media account and say, cheering you on or appreciate you. And it could be that small. And people are like, oh, on social. And the book is not about social media, but it's just such an easy example, because we all want more. Often, most of us want more on social. But just going in and engaging with a post, write a comment, appreciate this. And here's the quote that I liked, and then like it. And that will help people to see you and that thought leader that wants to engage with you eventually. Oh yeah, I remember your name in there. Because so many people think that their comment doesn't count. It does count. And it builds up your confidence, and it builds up not somebody seeing you out there. It builds up your thought leadership.
I love this so much. And I mean, all of this stuff is free, right? Like, this is not costing us. It might take maybe a minute of our time to write a review, or to, shine a light on someone in a meeting who maybe doesn't speak up very often, to just recognize their accomplishments, or to, hit that like button, or write a comment, throw a couple emojis down, or just to give someone a quick pat on the back and say, you're doing such a great job and I appreciate you. These things are free, but sometimes we take them for granted, or sometimes we assume that people know already because they are doing a great job. So we must think, yeah, she already knows how great she is. Like, why should I say anything? But it counts and it matters. And then you can start receiving it yourself. And instead of saying, oh, no, like no, and deflecting or dismissing it, actually like stopping and pausing and receiving it and just saying like, thank you, instead of immediately trying to say something good back or immediately trying to dismiss. It's something that I've learned as well, is like, if someone's actually taking that time to say something to you that they appreciate about you, like to actually receive it, because it helps that person who's giving that compliment or helping to see you as well. So I think it's a win-win in so many ways, because then it encourages us to go on and do more.
And just stand in it. When someone says thank you, it's going to be awkward because we're so used to self-deprecating or right away giving back that compliment, but stand in it, take a beat. So, it's so exciting to be, and I'm so thankful to be on the Juggle is Real podcast. And you're such a great interviewer. Pause. 3, 2, thank you. Because we're so quick to say, oh, you know what, there's all these problems, yada, 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 yada. But pausing in it and really making sure that you hear it. Self-deprecation is like our enemy. Just avoid it at all costs. Even if you are a leader in position of power, do not model self-deprecation. It's always call for humility and the modesty and self-deprecation. It's not for anyone who's listening to the Juggle is Real podcast. It's just not, because you already have it too much. So turn those messages off and let's amplify your bragging and your self-promotion. That's where we need to come from, because the other people who need that message, if you are worried about that, you do not need to do that. It is somebody else's issue. Just unfortunately, right now in a lot of the business publications and on social media, that's the information we're getting. Humility, 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 modesty, modesty, modesty. It's like, but how much do I need to dim my light or talk about only my failures? No. I need to talk about my successes, so that I attract more people who want to be part of my successes. Because bragging is not all about me, 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 me. This is not what it's about. It's about, here's how I'm here to serve. Then here's how we can partner together, just like you and I are doing right now. And then we can make something better. And we're sharing this information with your audience. They're going to go off and do great things. Everyone who's listening, you're going to go off and do something else. You're going to take one thing and share this information, so someone else will then be able to, shine brighter and step into the spotlight. And we can have more people being seen and heard and dropping that invisibility cloak. Oh my goodness. Wouldn't that be great if so many hidden gems? I do. They need to be seen and heard.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Lisa, thank you for cheering us all on. Thank you for writing this book. I am going to share some links in the notes for this podcast episode. Of course, you can get Bragging Rights on Amazon. I'm going to share the link. There's also some really great freebies that you are offering up to the listener as well. So did you want to speak to that before we wrap up?
Yeah, if you want to come to lisabragg.com, listener-love, there's a free download that you can use to start thinking about your bragging. And if you also want to email me, I will also share with you the workbook that goes along with it. So in the book, there's all these great activities. And so I've pulled them out so that it's easier in one place so that you can go through them together. And I'm happy to send that to you too, if you want to email me at hello@lisabragg.com, because the book has, not only is it meant to inspire you to action, but like you, I want people to actually do things. So it has to consider, because we don't do enough self-reflection. It has to do small tips that you can do right away to actually feel like you're moving the dial. And then it has to share, because this journey is about something that we need to share with each other. And so I've compiled them all into an activity book so that you can work through it as you use the book and come back to it again and again and again. And I want to see also all of your dog ears and highlights in the book. So
absolutely.
Yeah, nothing brings an author joy more than seeing those kind of things. So, but I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the opportunity and being on your podcast. And I am definitely going to be a good guest and amplify it. And I hope everyone listening will help amplify and like the podcast, and also give you 5 stars on it too. I appreciate you.
Well, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. I really appreciate it. So how to talk about your work using purposeful self-promotion. It is time to stop dimming your light. And all of those links are in the episode. So I can't wait for the listener to get this book, as well as to take advantage of all of the great stuff that you're doing. It's been a pleasure chatting. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What a beautiful conversation. I loved chatting with Lisa. And I will say that in the email interactions that we've had, she has been so gracious in giving out those compliments and sharing her appreciation, and even just noting how much she's cheering me on with what I am doing. And I think that as the author of the book called Bragging Rights, she's doing such an incredible job. I want you to head to the notes for this podcast episode because all of those links are there. And maybe as you take that first step, maybe as you look to fear plus 10% and you dip your toe into that pond of bragging, maybe you send Lisa an email and you tell her about one incredible accomplishment. I know she would love it so much. Her email address is also in the podcast notes. It has been so great being here with you. I can't wait to see you for another episode. And if you got something from this episode, I hope that you can rate this podcast, write me a short and sweet review, and share it with a friend. That would be helping me with my bragging, and I would really appreciate it so much. Until the next episode, I can't wait to see you back. Take good care.